we talk about. Let's talk about a hot topic that we always talk about as Americans, and that's the concept of democracy, right? I think if you say the word democracy, if you're Republican, or Republicans will immediately point out to you, America is not a democracy. It's a republic, right?
Constitutional republic.
Can you put that, is there anything you can say that kind of put that discussion to rest?
Yeah. Okay. So you can call it what it is, but the reality is that we live in a country of freedoms, and the leadership is elected by the people, and that is the elements of a democracy, representation of the people, and that means that the people have as much responsibility for the people that are up at the top as the people at the top have to represent the people that elected them.
So that doesn't slide past the listener. I want to kind of underline that statement again. We're going to talk critically about what good leadership and bad leadership is, but we live in a system, and the system is a structure where there's multiple players, and voters are just as much at fault for the system as those who lead us. Every time you point the finger, there's at least three pointing back. So the question about democracy, is the United States a democracy? It's a democracy. I mean, it has a republic aspect to it. It has the whole, a different form of, it's not always a majority vote that wins. We've got the electoral college and stuff like that, which non-Americans don't understand. Maybe you can say something about that as well.
I think many Americans don't understand.
So, but if I were to ask you a straight up question, what's the purpose of government? What is their overarching mission?
I think the purpose of government is really to take care of the least among us. Outside of the obvious protection of the country from outside threats and things of that nature, I'm talking about more of the domestic government side. Is really there to take care of the least among us. And I use the term least, not weakest, because oftentimes that does include the weakest, but it oftentimes includes not weak, but minority numbers. So in the case of women's rights, or in the case of minority rights, I'm not saying these are weak people. They're just in a minority in numbers. And that's the responsibility of government, is to make sure that those folks are taken care of and given the same rights as the majority. Otherwise, if you run a majority rule, then you're going to have problems.
I'm gonna go a step further, Todd. I completely concur with you. That's a sentiment that I would underline. But I think there's a misconception out there. We're not talking about the minority. What we're not looking for in government is a protection of the minority by the majority. We're actually looking for protection of the vast majority. We're talking about 99% of the population from that 1%.
Yeah. We have definitely turned a corner there.
Yeah. Now, and I don't think that I think it's been there for a long time.